Hello, I'm ZvZ. You join me jumping into a game on my own. I'm playing Zerg because I'm going to demonstrate a Zerg vs Zerg build, and I'm really excited for this one because it is one of my top disgusting builds to be using at the moment. I don't play Zerg that often, but when I do, love throwing this one in. So here we go. I'm just going to do this against no AIs or anything at all. Just going to show you the raw build. Okay, so the way this build works is it's a pretty ordinary looking pressure build from those who aren't really watching what's going on. So it's a 14-14, so like the old style of 14-14. That's a 14 gas and a 14 pull. But then we're going to take advantage a little bit of how the work accounts, the supply caps have changed into Legacy of the Void compared to Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm. And what we're going to do is we're going to skip the initial Overlords, which is ridiculous, and it's going to hurt our economy slightly to begin with. But then we're going to be able to get an expansion out, which is going to help us a hell of a lot in the late game. Well, maybe late game is a bit of an exaggeration. Very early into the mid game, because
we require more minerals.
What's going to happen is we're going to have an extremely early zergling speed. So your opponent's going to have no way of pressuring this expansion, as provided we get just a couple units out. And we're going to be able to drone like madmen.
We require more minerals.
So once we have 100 gas, take the guys out of the geyser, and then we're going to drone back up to 16.
Minerals.
After that little weirdness of the 14-14-14, then we just go back into normal droning. So it's Bait on Overlord on 13, just one before the supply gap, like is ordinary. If you're wondering why I've got R as a hotkey here, it's because my profiles are set up for Protoss, and they sort of ignore Zerg. So I have some weird hotkeys. In fact, Zergling's unbounded. Whoops. But yeah, so what we do, get the pool, and we've taken guys out of gas. Queen after 16 drones, but getting the queen earlier on is pretty ridiculous because, I mean, you're not going to be able to afford anything, just because of the way the build works. Don't have much money, you only had 13 drones at that point if we got the queen first. Queen comes out, we get zerglings straight away after those 16, just a few, as many as you feel like. I don't know, I usually go for, what's that, 3, you stop around now. Maybe this is enough. 3, 6, 7, maybe 8, 16 zerglings, that sort of region. That's a decent amount, isn't it? And then what's going to happen here, obviously there's no point in me going over here because the AI is not in the game, is our zergling speed finished up now, which is a ridiculous timing, because that's just right when our, I didn't make overlords, never mind. The opening of the build's finished anyway, so that doesn't really matter. Yeah, so we've got our expansion up, and our speed is finishing. So there's no way of our opponent possibly putting any pressure on us at this point. Anything with zerglings just going to be completely shut down by this. You've got to be careful to keep your queens if your opponent's really up in your face with slow zerglings, but I mean, you should be fine. There's no real excuse for losing a base when you have zergling speed this early and this many zerglings. But all this nice larvae. I think it's just sort of in my psyche to inject, even though it's completely unnecessary because the build's finished. But yes, so now we're going to be able to get right up in our opponent's faces. And there's two cases which could have occurred here. Either our opponent was being more aggressive than us, which means he didn't get a base, in which case we have speed zerglings, quite a few of them. We're going to be able to hold on pretty well, like I said, with making sure our queens don't die, being careful with the control. Not really much of an excuse to dying with this sort of opener. The other case is our opponent played more economic than us and made more drones, in which case we're going to be able to get right up in our opponent's face, getting lots of damage done. We're guaranteed to have gas earlier than our opponent. So sorry, working speed earlier than our opponent. So we'll have a decent window to do a bit of damage, poke around a bit. After 16, we put guys back in gas. When we start droning again, restock this, saturate out the space. Obviously, this is very unrealistic because the build stopped and that's just been producing lava for a while. We're not going to be able to replace the drones that fast, but you will start replacing them because what's going to happen is we're going to be up in our opponents, right up in our opponents' faces. and distracting them. Hopefully isolating zerglings is the priority. We don't want to sacrifice our zerglings to kill drones or anything like that, because this is a pressure build which is designed to keep this here base safe. That's the priority here. If we kill a few drones off, even if it's a worthy trade for our zerglings, the threat is your opponent can flood zerglings themselves and then put the pressure back on you, and you don't want to be the one being pressurized, because, I mean, you know, it seems quite obvious. Because we were behind in workers, we want to start droning up now. So after we start droning, we put guys back on gas, we can go for Baneling Nest, and then the Baneling Nest allows us to be more defensive and drone even more, possibly get even more guys on gas. And the way I like to play this out is a bit, I guess it's a bit counterintuitive after we've been droning, but because this is the pressure build, and we're constantly putting aggression on our opponent, I like to get earlier gases than most Zerg vs Zerg builds, and then go for Mooslisks or something as some tech, which allows us to continue the aggression. Because after a while, your opponent's going to be able to, like, I mean, a few Zerglings, maybe even Banelings, they're not going to be able to put pressure on your opponent forever, whereas you tech into Mooslisks, then you're going to have a lot more of an impact on the game, and even be able to snipe some bases if they take it up. And you can just straight up win straight away if you get Mooslisks early enough, which is a nice side effect. So yes, now I've demonstrated that. There's probably a few tactical things that I've missed. One of the most important things to take away is you're not really trying to kill drones here, you're trying to minimize your opponent's army, just kill off queens because that reduces their larva income, and kill off zerglings in a really cost efficient way, and just make sure you don't lose any zerglings unnecessarily so that you can safely drone behind this. Yeah, so like I said, that's the main part to take away, but I've probably missed a few things. So I'm going to demonstrate this again by talking over a game with me actually trying this in practice. So you join me in game, and I'm going to have the production tab open so you can see what's going on. I'm here in the left, Zerg vs Zerg of course, and we're going to go for the 14 pool, sorry, 14 gas in the 14 pool, and I'm actually playing against my mate here. This isn't a ladder match, and that's why I remembered it. I have loads of videos in my replays folder, and I couldn't really think and remember how a lot of them went, so that's why I've chosen this one. I picked this one just so you can see how the build's supposed to work. There's going to be probably quite a few videos on my channel of it not working as well, but yeah, I'll maybe go into slightly what happens if you do things wrong while we're watching the video. So here we go, going down for that 14 hatchery before Overlord. So my opponent is going to have quite a nice drone lead on me. I'll keep the units tab open so you can see how badly the build's doing. But then you're going to see production of Metabolic Boost is going to be quite a bit ahead. And I'm going to have maybe half a minute window where I'm going to be able to kill workers if my opponent's not lucky. Not lucky. Ideally, we're going to shut down his army units as well. So here we go. Units is the Metabolic Boost starting, and my opponent's pool isn't even finished yet. I'm going to see how many seconds ahead we are. I'm not saying my opponent is executing his build perfectly, I'm not actually sure the exact timings, but we'll see how many seconds ahead we are. It says uh-oh. Uh-oh? I wonder what he means. Maybe he's thinking I'm doing a crazy all-in. Okay, there we go. So I'm 40, I think that was 48 seconds earlier than his. So that's a decent window that I have to kill things. I'm not sure if he started his pool like immediately. He might have been a few seconds late to start the pool. I don't know. But yeah. I think he might have thought, yeah, I was going for an all-in because I didn't have an Overlord coming. But little does he know that I am actually doing an aggressive build. So I should have already been out of the map, so my speed's finished here. Now normally you wouldn't want to leave your base straight away, because if your opponent's speed is finished and you've got Solings, you're going to lose your army. But as I've mentioned before in the detailed explanation before this. There's no chance of your opponent having speed earlier than you, and if they do, they're not really going to have units, so they're going to be in a bad spot if they've got any unit gas any earlier than you in this case. So, oh my gosh, this is why you shouldn't make an army movement like he did, like I just went into. He loses his whole army. I have a shit ton of zerglings, and what's he gonna do? So what I should be, yeah, there we go. I did it right. There we go. So straight after I made that big swell of zerglings, guys go back into gas. I get a Baneling Nest, and drones are coming in huge numbers. And if we look at the unit count, I'm going to be behind. But now I've started my drone production. We're going to shoot way ahead. Our opponent is forced to produce units. That was a really nice Baneling hit by him. That was quite good. Bit of a dodgy play by me. That was really nice micro from me actually, to be fair though. I killed 2 Banelings with 3 zerglings, I think. That was really nice. But yeah, unfortunately, it shut down my aggression really harshly because I walked too many zerglings into Banelings. And yeah, but there we go. Drone production is in full swing. Went up to 30 there. I did lose a bit of momentum there, which is really sad. Ideally, you don't want to lose momentum like that. I probably shouldn't have I probably should have left and stopped engaging once I realised he had enough to defend, and because the whole point of this build, that I was saying, is we're defending this natural. Luckily though, 3 zerglings go down. Luckily though, as I was executing the build reasonably well. Oh, the Banelings! Oh, well spread there. Not really any angle that he could attack me from. Yeah, because I had that Baneling Nest on time, I did have Banelings ready. Spreading out the Banelings is really important, so putting a couple on the ramp, keeping them all over the place. It's very important. He's just got only Banelings here. Oh dear. Only Banelings isn't very good because you can have single zerglings coming at you. Though it is going to work reasonably well. Oh, I think he killed as many Banelings as he made there. That was a big explosion there. It could have been a really uncost efficient. He could have lost all of those for nothing, but he got a couple of kills as well, so it wasn't too dreadful. Units count is a really important thing to be looking at here because, yeah, as I was able to drone safely with Banelings, with my army right over my opponent's base, I've been able to get a drone advantage, and I've actually added on more. Crazy bastard, aren't they? That was pretty unnecessary. I know that was a bit unnecessary. I'm pulling drones. Dear me. Yeah, so I made a few too many drones. But it's fine. I'd probably still be ahead, yeah. Still ahead. And there we go. Still defending. Yeah. He's really trying to put on pressure here. He thought he had an advantage there because of all that massive hit that he had in his main base. And he's probably still in this mindset where he's at an army advantage and he's trying to push that. But unfortunately, no, I'm too far ahead in drones now. Good God, 15 ahead. Adding on drones now at last. But I've just made too many Banelings now. And like I said before, gas is a really important thing here when you're playing the aggressive builds early on. Taking a third is quite tricky due to the counter attacks and things like that. And also going for Moosteless, some tech, something that allows you to keep pressure back on your opponent. It's really useful. No upgrades coming. Lots of continued aggression. And there's not too much more to say for this build really. Adding on the spire like I was saying, so I went for that double gas reasonably early, much earlier than my opponent. When you attack, expand at the same time. Standard, very normal strategy there. He's gone to roaches, very difficult for me to put on more aggression now. But I've teched much earlier than him, and I've gone for an earlier lair. I had an earlier spire. And now I can just walk in and kill shit, which is nice. It's a nice thing to do. Kill off a couple drones. Don't want to lose anything because Spore crawlers deal like 600 damage. They 4-shot Mucilisks, which I feel like it was only 3-shot at one point in the game, when Mucilisks were really overpowered, and then they buffed Spore crawlers, which I'm not sure how much that makes. So a big flood of zerglings coming in, because these are useless at the moment, because this is a critical mass of roaches. When you're in small numbers of roaches and you can get a full surround of zerglings, then that's really nice, but this is too many and you're not going to be able to kill it. So I'm just going for big counterattacks, players, kill off his bases. If he went to kill my base, then he'd kill a base, but the this has come back and killed all the roaches off for free. Yeah, it's too much damage. So yeah, that's how the build should go. It wasn't as perfect as I had in my mind, actually, because I made some bad decision making here, because the main fight here where there was a big zergling clash and I lost a lot of zerglings to banelings, that shouldn't have even happened. I shouldn't have even been taking that fight, because you've got to remember, it's a very easy thing to judgment call to make in the moment and call it wrong, because sometimes you are in this position where you think you can end the game straight away, but actually it's usually safer to just pull your zerglings back here, send banelings up to try and poke, just delay your opponent from getting towards your important natural which you're trying to defend and drone up. So taking that fight here was just not a good choice, and I should have retreated and just tried to harass where I could and delayed that incoming wave of units. Because banelings produced here as well they're going to take a long time to get over here, because banelings are a bit slow as well, and that's going to give you lots of time to build spine crawlers and etc. Okay, now I've shown you a game with it working quite nicely. I'll go into a game where it didn't work quite so well, and I'll explain why. So here we are in game, and this is an example of where it hasn't worked so well. I think I remember this game pretty well, so we'll have a look. So here's the 1414. And there's no Overlord. There's an expansion! Delightful. Delightful. Overlord coming in after that. Should be on 13 supply. Speed boost straight away. And our opponent is going for a reasonably timed speed of his own. And we are 30 seconds ahead? About 30? Yeah, 30 something seconds ahead. So we have a little bit of a window. So we should be making zerglings mighty soon and sending those straight across, because we know our speed's going to be finished in, and I haven't done that, so this is really important. So big important thing to take away here is I didn't send the zerglings around straight away, so they should have just been straight rallied. I think it would have been better, because I'm almost missing out on that window. Luckily he sent his zerglings to me, so I'm going to get a few free zerglings, like is the dream. There we go. 4 free zerglings, limiting down his army, made another big swell, and then we're going to go straight into drones. And after I start attacking, I'm putting guys back in gas, because I did take those guys off gas after the 100 gas originally. And we're going to keep pushing up now. The next 50 gas goes into Baneling Nest. We're going to focus down these zerglings, attack them, kill the zerglings. Queen is a good target as well. Going to go for the queen. Probably should send some guys round. Send some guys round. Didn't do that, never mind. Probably was backering, controlling these following zerglings. Some more targets though. These zerglings coming on in. I'm droning heavily behind this. Far behind in drones to begin with, as you'd expect, because I think he droned just before this attack came in. I'm going to get some drones myself. I've overwhelmed his army. There's some more units here. I immediately go after them. Making the right calls here. There's a Baneling coming on in. Got to keep away from that. Zerglings went down there. Probably should have chased after them instead of... The queen's pretty good target, to be fair. 1 Baneling goes down. 2 Banelings go down. 3 Banelings go down. Hopefully for the 4th as well. 4 Banelings go down. So not too bad. 8 ahead at this point. And I have myself a nice little lead. But I have lost all my zerglings, so I should be replacing those immediately. I should be replacing those, which I'm not. Why am I not? There we are. I am. There we go. More zerglings and banelings should be coming out straight away. So yes, my focus on that was killing off army units, and I did, and I killed off 4 banelings as well, which is really nice. And killed off the queen. the drones were a bonus. Don't really need to focus on those. I just killed off some drones while he didn't have any units left, and then the big swell came off. I was able to kill a few banelings, like I said, before my army went down, but then I had to stop. So I'm moving out again now. I'm fully saturating my base, adding on those extra gases. Yeah, could be working on moving down to the third and fourth gases as well eventually. But I'm moving into that layer straight away. Want a gas mine there, don't I? I know I was on the aggressive, and my opponent doesn't have a base much earlier than me. He's going for one now. But yeah, this movement here might be a mistake by me. So this attack here, I'm not really exploiting any sort of timing here. I'm just sort of being aggressive for the sake of being aggressive here. So I'm not sure how much I like this as much. Maybe a couple banelings and keeping the zerglings here, trying to deny the expansion. I guess that sort of makes sense. But yeah, I rightly go home because I'm not really. Yeah, well, maybe I'm not going home. Yeah, see, this is a mistake I've made here, and this is probably why this game hasn't gone so well. Added on that gas, which is correct though, dealing in some damage. Made a really nice choice there to tank through banelings. This is a really nice. Oh no! Oh, it would have gone well. Never mind. A nice play you can do here is a baneling can tank a baneling hit. It takes 2 baneling hits to kill 1 baneling, so you can charge a baneling through. And I was trying to do that. I charged my banelings through to try and get to some things, but it didn't really work out too well. And see, my over-aggression here. This is why I've been making a mistake here. This is why it was a mistake. I shouldn't have really pushed in. And this is something really important to take away. Is I'm droning up now. I'm teching up. My spy is giving me my next form, of aggression, which gives me an advantage in the game. Unfortunately, I wasted my army units and didn't really achieve much. The goal of my army there wasn't to really kill my opponent. It was to keep my drones safe. Well, I mined gas and teched up, so that wasn't a very good plan. His banelings being very cost efficient. Not so cost efficient there. He lost 4 banelings to kill 2. But he's in a much nicer position now because he's working on this expansion. It's almost done, in fact. How's the workers looking? Workers very good for him. After that attack, I lost quite a few drones. Wasn't able to drain up as much as I'd like, and that's really messed me up. And it's ridiculous how much a little poor decision like that can ruin the game, really. I don't even have 3 on that one gas now. I've been so disorientated after that. He's going for the spire. Maybe not such a good idea right next to the spine crawler. Oh dear. So this wasn't a very good decision by him, but my one was so inconsistent with my builds, which is a mistake you should never make. You shouldn't make a decision which just isn't consistent with what your main strategy is. I'm so inconsistent that I'm in such a nasty position now. I haven't been able to take an expansion. I haven't been able to mine gas, really. So I'm adding on a couple more musilisks, but I can't remember. What are they doing? That's not wise. He's just midway through attacking me. Why are those drones doing that? See, it's just put me in such an awful position. But I'm just having to take lots of risks to try and come back in the game, basically. That's basically what's happening. I was trying to expand there, hopefully he wasn't going to push. Muses come out. They're going to be able to eventually shut down all the zerglings. They're going to help. And luckily for me, he's wasting a lot of zerglings trying to kill this fire. And he's just really not doing it. So I'm back in the game a bit now. If we look at units, wait, what? What? How am I so far ahead now in drones? What has he done? What has he done? He must have just been spamming zerglings to try and kill that spire for a while, which is not a good decision. Poor guy. So I'm in a nice position again now, but I didn't really deserve it because, like I said, my decisions were really quite poor. Taking that engagement at his 3rd base. But now I'm able to move in, trying to take a 3rd. I have Musis, which is nice. It's forced out a lot of spines from him, spores from him, which is also affecting his drone count. He's now in his droning phase though after taking that 3rd, whereas I'm sort of adding on my 3rd as well and making units to defend it. Oh dear. This isn't nice. I don't have many useless is the problem. It's just disrupted my build so much that I haven't been mining as much gas as I'd want. I'm really low on Lava because I lost queens. Really not quite. It's really not very good. And this isn't. I'm not sure what I'm doing here. Looking away probably while I was macroing, and that's just heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. Because it's not like I'm switching out of moose lists, I'm still adding them on. So I could really do with those 4 or 5. I think I remember vaguely remember because it was done like a couple months ago this game, just going, where the hell's my meal list gone? It's just sad. And I've got an Overlord here, which should probably be moved as well. I'm surprised he hasn't killed that, to be fair. He's just sitting there watching everything. How interesting. It's just an Overlord. There we go, I'm moving it. How interesting. So I have Muses still, and they're going around. They're going to be able to kill off all the Overlords, which are just dotted around the base. They're around the map, but there aren't any more, so that's fine. I'm still adding on Muses one at a time, but I'm in a really nasty spot, and I should not be adding more now. After losing that squad of 4 or 5 Muses, I don't know. I didn't really have much of a chance of getting much of a critical mass before he had a good number of Hydralisks, so it's tough now. Trying to kill reinforcements, which is a good plan. If you have Muses and your opponent has a large army, that's a massive army, and I thought he was going to have Hydralisks, I think, at this point, just Hydralisks. So yeah, that's not quite as nice as I was hoping. Ravagers are awful to deal with, and they don't even have an armored tag. I've just realised. But they're not armored. Wow, man. Ravagers are really a pain in the ass to deal with, aren't they? Wow. Yeah, so you can see how making decisions inconsistent with the opening build order has really messed me up here. The only real aggressive window you have is when Metabolic Boost finishes, and then after that you want to go into super macro mode, they go up for another tech, and then find some other timing where you can get back on the offensive. So yes, hope you like that, and you will play this build. Hope you play this build. It's, like I said several times throughout the course of this video, it's not like super standard, obviously. Pretty sure you know that if you've used as a StarCraft build before. This isn't a particular standard build, but it's a lot of fun. Because I'm commentating the builds, you can't really get the whole sense. It's not a first-person video. If it was a first-person video, you might get a sense of how fun the build is. It's nice having the Metabolic Boost finish and having complete control over the game, and then it is equally as nice having your first tech option finish before your opponent, and then having another big advantage over your opponent. Which I didn't get to show off in either of these videos, these replays, is with the first spawn of like up to 10 museless, you can often kill a base because it's very sudden, because your opponent's been droning, preparing against ling attacks and things like that, and you can often micro around, keep your museless in this sort of position, micro go, shoot, 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 shoot. You've killed a lair. Really nice stuff. Yeah, not much else to say. Yeah, like I say, not very standard. Bit of fun. Throw it in there every now and then. It's quite tricky for your opponent to scout, which I explained a bit earlier. Yeah, like I said, it's easy for your opponent to possibly judge from the overlords, not see an overlord and go, maybe there's an attack coming, but you could have just sent the overlord in a different direction, so they can't really assume that reliably, unless your opponent sent a really early drone scout, which is not every game. But yes, overall, hope you like that. Please try it out. It's a lot of fun. A bit silly, and if I have any more silly builds in the future, I'll make sure I commentate those and bring them to you so you can try them out and have a bit of fun. I'll see you later. Goodbye.